On tonight's edition of our nation's sports show, we break down the latest news in the world of sports. With free agency on the rising in the NBA, where will the top free agents land in the offseason? Is the Brooklyn Nets' days numbered with their top two stars? Reportedly, Kyrie Irving and Kevin Durant both want out of Brooklyn. After a 2-year dominant reign in the NHL, the Tampa Bay Lightning have been dethroned by the new Stanley Cup champions, the Colorado Avalanche. Ladies and gentlemen, it is that time once again. It's showtime. From the gridiron to the court, talking all that is sports. Members of the Bucks Nation bring to you our Nation Sports Show. Here are your hosts, Ezra Vickrey, Joey Thornton, Kevin Rory, and Randy Giron.
All right, guys, here we go. What's going on, everybody? It is another Tuesday. It is great to be here. It is our Nation Sports Show. We are here live. We are here ready to talk sports for the next time that we have with you on here. And, of course, you can follow us right now, of course, on our social medias. You can follow us on YouTube.com. Just search Our Nation Sports Show in the search bar on YouTube right now. We are live. We are only 3 subscribers away from that 100 subscriber mark. So please share with your friends. Tell everybody you know. Get to that 100 subscriber mark for us so we can get that custom URL, which makes it easier for us to share content with you guys. And it also makes it easier for you guys to bookmark us and find us later on when you want to watch these shows live or whenever you want to watch them on demand. Also, don't forget to follow the Nation's Corner at Nation's Corner on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook. Just search that or go to the URLs. And, of course, Discord GG/Nation's Corner if you want to get involved live with our show and the Nation's Corner, which takes place this Saturday, at 7 p.m. Eastern, 4 p.m. Pacific, 6 p.m. Central Time on youtube.com/Nation's Corner. You can also follow my cosplay crew, Too Sweet Cosplay. Our next event coming up will be at the formerly Wizard World Con, known as Fan Expo Chicago. We'll be doing a panel that day, on Friday at least, so we will be there for that, and more news to come. But we got some stuff to talk about in the world of sports. It's been quiet ever since the NBA Finals came and gone, but there's still some stuff that needs to be discussed. So let's get into it right now. And with me, we got, of course, our buddy here not from Oakland, California, but still representing that silver, white, and black with the Raiders. None other than Randy Giron. What's going on, buddy?
Hey, what's going on, guys? It's great to be here. Happy Tuesday to everyone. Hope everyone's having a great week so far. It's going to be an interesting couple of weeks here with some free agency and the whole no sports thing. So it's going to be interesting, and it's great to be here.
Absolutely. And of course, next on this list will be our good buddy here, Joseph JT Thornton. What's going on, buddy?
Excuse me. Hey, what's going on, everybody? Hope everybody's having a great Tuesday. I hope everybody had a great this past weekend. And I mean, all I got to say is, let's talk some sports. Let's go.
Yes, definitely. And then, of course, our fourth member of this crew today is going to be None other than our usual sports expert here. None other than our boy, Kevin Rory. Kevin, what's going on, brother?
What's going on, everybody? Hope everybody's having a happy Taco Tuesday out there. And like Randy said, it's going to be an interesting couple weeks in the world of basketball, and NFL starting to ramp things up, getting closer and closer to mini camp, OTAs, and training camp. So let's go.
Yes, definitely. We got a good amount to talk about, of course. Real quick, of course, as you guys know, the NBA free agency starts this Thursday. So keep your eyes on all NBA social media platforms and all your favorite teams and players' social medias as contracts can officially be signed and players will be able to officially accept whatever deals, trades that they're allowed to. Speaking of trades and free agency, let's get right into the ongoing saga that is Russell Westbrook. There have been a lot of places where Russell could have gone, but unfortunately they were all denied. Lots of different places, Indiana and there's just so many places he could have gone, so many sign and trade deals, trade packages, but every team has decided, no, we're not interested. And so Westbrook at the last minute decided to exercise his player option, and he will stay with the Lakers for another season. So it's going to be real interesting to see how this pans out for this team going forward. And what is this? And Kevin, I want to get to you first because I know how deep you are into this, and that is the one thing I want to ask is how does Westbrook being denied these trades, how does that look in the favor of him maybe looking to go to a better team next year, or maybe our team's just looking for a younger star, a guy who's got more ability? And does this him being rejected affect his overall value when he is officially a free agent?
Well, I think his performance on the court last year really fucked his value up. But me personally, I don't think it was a personal thing. I don't think he fits in with LeBron James. You got two ball-dominant players. One of them's going to suck, and it's not going to be LeBron. So Westbrook got the short end of the stick. Do I think he should go somewhere else? Definitely. I can see him on a team that needs a ball-dominant guard. I can really honestly see him, and I can see him having success. But Westbrook at this point, by him opting into his player option for the Lakers, he doesn't care about the Lakers winning this year. And I can tell that he's not a team player because you're making $47 million. After that performance you put up last year, you would think Westbrook, to be team friendly, would say, you know what, I'm opting out, but I'm going to re-sign for maybe like $15 million so I can give the Lakers an organization some kind of financial stability to be able to go spend on some free agents, because I don't care if you got Westbrook, AD, and LeBron. If you ain't got the rest of your team, you're going to get your ass beat by at least 7 teams out in the West next year. I don't care if LeBron's playing like he's 20, AD's playing healthy, and Westbrook's playing like OKC Westbrook. I don't care. If you ain't got a team around you, you get beat by 7 teams out of the West next season.
Yeah, definitely. It's going to be one thing is I think about Westbrook is definitely his performances do not dictate. I think, yes, in the past years or so, yeah, he's a great player. But to me, his performances on the court, despite him having these triple doubles, despite him having this, to me, when you're not producing big wins, going to the playoffs, making championship runs, to me, that affects your overall presentation when it comes to free agency, sign and trade value. For instance, let's say hypothetical. This is completely hypothetical. Let's say Jordan Poole was a free agent. I know he's not, but let's just say that in a hypothetical. Jordan would have a better chance of getting a big sign and trade package or getting a better deal in free agency because he just won a championship, because he had a big season, he had a big off season, or he had a big postseason. So to me, with Russell not having that type of productivity outside of his usual ball, I won't say ball hogging, but his usual dominance as a ball handler that he has, I would say, even though he has that dominance, it still to me doesn't seem to me as a big trade value. Like, yeah, you could get a guy who could score 15, 20 25 points and now you have a triple-double every night for the next freaking 2 seasons. But yet, if you don't win championships and you don't produce winning seasons, that's not going to mean much in the long run when you want to test that free agent market, or when you want to test sign and trade values, that you want to go out there and find a team that is going to give you that big contract, that is going to give you that opportunity to play. But the problem is, if you're having a shitty season, it's gonna lower your trade value. It's gonna lower your sign value. So to me, Westbrook, despite him being who he is, I think to me, because of his past seasons have not been as productive as he usually is, and the fact that he has been, let's just say, lackluster in big game situations, I think that affected his value overall. And I think that's the reason why a lot of teams are not willing to take a chance on him right now.
Well, yeah,
you know what? And go ahead, Randy.
I was going to say, the thing is about Westbrook is the way the league is now, the way with social media, the way with everything now. It's a "what have you done for me lately" thing. It's not, okay, well, you are Russell Westbrook, let's get you in here, or you are John Wall's getting ready to sign with the Clippers, let's get him in here. It's what you can do now, and what people will think of you now, as opposed to, he used to be this, he used to be that. That stuff doesn't fly anymore. In the past years in the NBA, that got you somewhere. That gets you somewhere in the NFL. That gets you somewhere in other leagues. But in basketball, in the way, like I said, the way social media is right now, man, you got to produce now. You got to win now. And especially with them aging, and like Kevin said, all those teams in the West, man, they're all just getting stacked, even in the East. So they got to figure something out. And Westbrook and LeBron, they should have never tried that experiment. There's no thing. They were living in that. Oh well, it's Westbrook. Let's get him in here, but that's going to really bite them in the ass, because they're going to be on the outside looking in for a couple of years now. They mortgaged everything for AD, and it really got them.
But Randy, you bring up a good point talking about social media, because the way I feel, and Kevin Durant said this a couple years ago. He said, I'm not dissing LeBron James, but being LeBron James' teammate is so toxic, because the world we live in with social media, LeBron James, the most popular basketball player on the planet. So, social media follows him. The new media follows him. The old media follows him. Like reporters from all kinds of things follow him. And they give this narrative to always down LeBron. Like, why ain't your team playing? Why do you got to do everything? And it's horrible, because we've seen players that were genuine good players play with LeBron and their careers get thrown to shit. Like Kyle Kuzma he was a high prospect when he came into the NBA. LeBron goes to the Lakers. Now he's shipped off to Washington. Same way with guys like Brandon Ingram. He's a 28 point per game scorer, but because he was LeBron's teammate and it was so toxic, he gets shipped off to New Orleans. And the thing about that is, he can't play. He don't need to be with LeBron. LeBron needs help, but this guy sucks. But in the case of Russell Westbrook, what he needs to do, to be honest, is do what other guys did in the league. Like, okay, it's not working. You need to find a way to reinvent your character. Your character's getting thrown in the mud. You can't shoot. Okay, I get that. But there's certain guys who took less money on championship contending teams that are about to get paid. And I'll give you a hint right here. Otto Porter Jr., he came into the league, he was good. He started stinking with Washington over the last 4 or 5 years. You know what he does? He goes to Golden State for $3 million, the veterans minimum. When he does that, he plays defense. He gets good. He listens to the system. He buys into the system. Now he's about to hit the market, and I guarantee you got a bunch of non-playoff teams like the Indiana Pacers, Orlando Magic, the Washington Wizards, the Knicks. Teams like that are just going to overspend because he upped his market value. Same way with like Gary Payton II. He was on a G League. You know what he did? He said, I'm going to play defense. Defense wins championships. If what Russell Westbrook would quit focusing on trying to get better shooting and focus on the other little things, off the ball defense, being able to guard anybody on the wing, that'll help your team. While LeBron and AD scoring, you can play defense, set good picks, rebound, hustle, make an effort. And I mean, that'll make a world of a difference when you're coming to play for a contract and playing to reinvent yourself. So Russell Westbrook needs to just play some defense in this system this year. That's what I look for him to do.
Exactly. And Kevin, I 1000% agree with everything that you just said, because like you started off by saying, Russell Westbrook's year this past year in the NBA, definitely one of the worst seasons he's ever had in his career. And that really decreases trade value, like you said. And I mean, and like you also said, Kevin, I mean, defense wins championships. That is the mantra of every single sports team in the entire sporting universe, whether it's baseball, basketball, football, hockey, heck, even tennis. And for crying out loud, the main mantra of the sporting universe is the fact that defense wins championships. Offense may win games, but defense wins championships. That has been the mantra that I have been aiming towards for quite some time now. And Russell Westbrook, whenever he left OKC and started going to these other teams, trying to adapt and trying to have the same mindset that he did during his days at OKC, it didn't work out because he was trying to do so much so fast. And yeah, he may have been an elite player when he was in OKC, but he decided he couldn't do it by himself. And I respect that. So that's why he wanted to test the market, test out all these other teams, play with some other elite players, and see if Russell Westbrook could still be the elite player that he was back in his OKC days. But now we see that it is done nothing but crash and burn his entire career. Because ever since Russell Westbrook has started his team hopping, his productivity and his stats have just decreased and decreased and decreased and decreased. And now, with the fact that, like you said, Kevin, he's teaming up with somebody who is an elite playmaker, but is toxic in the form of LeBron James, and somebody who can't save his life, it seems like, in Anthony Davis. It is just making the Lakers' road to not just an NBA championship or a playoff run, but just a winning record seem like, I don't even know how to describe it. It seems so far off. And the fact that Russell Westbrook thinks that he can still be an elite player, even though he teams up with a cripple in Anthony Davis, and yes, I said a cripple because it's the truth, and the fact that he has a toxic leader in LeBron James, who, I'm not going to lie, like I said, LeBron is an elite playmaker. I know he is. He's put up some amazing stats throughout his almost 20-year NBA career. I can't deny that. But the fact is that LeBron is such a toxic player and a toxic leader. It's just making the Lakers dig in a deeper hole than what they're already in right now. And if they don't get some help, if they don't get some help in the form of younger players who actually can elevate their status by learning the bases, learning the playbook, and just being there whenever a team needs them, like the Lakers need them, the Lakers is going to be in trouble for so many years to come. They need to hurry up and get their act together. That's just my 2 cents.
100%.
Yeah, definitely. That was one of the questions I wanted to ask you guys is because Russell is now staying for at least one more season, after this upcoming season, what do you do? I mean, with Russ, it's easy. He's going to be a free agent. He's going to be free to sign wherever he wants. But that's a $47.1 million, basically a $47.1 million hold that he's going to have this upcoming season. So with him now signing that, with him exercising that player option, where does that leave the Lakers in this upcoming free agency? Where do you see them? Do you see them picking up any key components, or do you just see them going with the motions and kind of sticking with the team they already have?
And that's another thing I wanted to bring up. the fact that Russell Westbrook put up the lackluster number of stats that he did last year, but yet still signing that $47.1 million player option, that is putting the Lakers by themselves in a much deeper hole as far as finances are concerned, because now that Westbrook is going to be making that $47 million come the end of next year, it's putting the Lakers in such a financial struggle to where they can't even afford to even bring in another high-profile player, much less a low-profile player. Because, and see, Russell Westbrook, I mean, we've talked on the show several times about how these superstars keep asking for these lackluster, mediocre, high-paid profile superstar contracts, and the team gives it to them because of their past success. But it's like as soon as they get paid, or as soon as they sign that contract worth that huge amount of money, they go out and don't play like it. And it has happened to so many athletes and so many teams over the years that you would think that these teams and these athletes would try to say, you know what? Instead of asking for all this high profile money, maybe I need to help the team out a little bit and kind of maybe take a little pay cut, because yeah, I may not have had the best year last year, but maybe if I can improve myself and actually start learning the game of basketball again, maybe in about a year or 2 years time, if I'm playing on a 1-year deal, maybe I can ask for a high profile amount of money, because I know that I can bring whatever I can to this team. And case in point, like you said, Kevin, Otto Porter Jr., he was, I mean, yeah, he struggled for a little bit trying to find who he was and what he could be on the basketball court. The Warriors bring him in. He finds out that playing defense is the way to go, and now he's going to be recruited by all these other teams that need help on the defensive side of the ball because Otto Porter knows how to play defense. So now that Russell Westbrook is going to be given $47 million by the Lakers, it's just going to be rough for the Lakers to bring in any sort of high profile or low profile free agents, in my opinion.
You know what, Joey? I agree with that, but at the end of the day, I can never fault Russell Westbrook for getting his own money. It's a business. You know who I fought for this, and I've said it before. I fought the guys like Rob Pelinka, Jeannie Buss, the whole entire Lakers front office, because you know where this shit went south? When they decide, oh, we could just buy super teams and buy championships. That ain't how it works nowadays, homeboy. It don't work like that. You can't buy championships. And you know what happened? I said this when it happened, and I'll say it again, and I'll say it on my deathbed. That Anthony Davis trade, the Los Angeles Lakers gave up too damn much. Brandon Ingram would still be on a rookie contract. They would still have Lonzo Ball. They would still have every single first-round draft pick for 4 years they can build off of. When you look at championship teams like the Golden State Warriors, built through the draft, the Memphis Grizzlies on the come-up, built through the draft, the Phoenix Suns, built through the draft, the Milwaukee Bucks, built through the draft. Then you look at the teams we're talking about, super teams, and they're getting swept like the Brooklyn Nets and not even making the playoffs like the Los Angeles Lakers. And yeah, Westbrook could have been team friendly and said, let me opt out and get it. But you got to look at Westbrook's point of view too. Like, he's like, man, next year, no matter, like, even if I try to re-evolve my character and my player, like in my abilities, no team's going to pay me hardly. I might as well get this money right now while I can. Like, he's looking at it like, hell, I might be broke next year. I might be teamless next year. Let me get this money. At the end of the day, that's a Lakers organization problem, as well as not having enough players. You know the maximum amount of money they can sign someone for, and it's not because they got the money. It's the fact that they only got one mid-level exception, and that is $6 million a year on that tax exception. It's a mid-level player exception. That's all they got. Who the fuck are they going to sign that's key for $6 million? And it was crazy because I know we're going to talk about the Kyrie Irving situation, but they were talking about if Kyrie went to the Lakers, he would have to drop $36 million and sign on for $6 million. Who the fuck is that stupid? I knew Kyrie Irving wasn't going to be that damn stupid, not after he lost $20 million in fines last year. So, I mean, who can they sign? They're going to lose JaVale McGee, who was a key piece, who's actually probably should be the starting center for them, by the way. Not JaVale McGee. They're about to lose Dwight Howard. They're about to lose, unless Malik Monk signs for $1 million. They're about to lose Malik Monk to free agency. Jesus Christ, they have nobody, absolutely nobody. And to be honest, I'm gonna make a bold statement right here on this show. This season hasn't even started next year, and I don't see the Lakers getting over a 10 seed. I do not see them getting above a 10 seed. I don't see them making a play-in again. The West is too stacked right now. When I go down the list and look at the teams that are healthy now, Golden State, Memphis, Denver, the Clippers, come on, New Orleans on the up and rise, Minnesota on the up and rise, San Antonio on the up and rise. Come on, man. Who is the Lakers going to replace out of that group with the same damn old coots that they got now? Them old geezers, they should belong getting their membership to their AARP foundation because they're so damn old. They're prehistoric.
Yeah, I mean, I believe that.
Yeah.
I believe it.
The Lakers used to be the free agent destination. Now everybody's staying away.
Yeah,
basically.
I think we can all agree on something, and that is that Kobe Bean Bryant is rolling over in his grave watching how this shit is turning out in Los Angeles.
I believe it. And real quick, like you said, about the Kyrie Irving situation, which I'm sure we're going to talk about that. I mean, yeah, Kyrie Irving may not have played in a lot of games this past season because of him being unvaccinated, but I'd rather have him suiting up for the LA Lakers and trying to bring some legitimacy to that franchise, except for Russell Westbrook. I mean, I'm just saying.
Exactly.
Definitely. You mentioned Kyrie Irving, and we're going to get into that right now. That is a bit of saga that's been going on. Is that Kyrie has been another one that's been pushed out for sided trade deals, and no team is willing to accept him. And because of that, that's another one that has decided to accept his team player option. And so with that being said, Kyrie Irving, he says right here, without the ability to find a sign and trade deal, Kyrie Irving plans to exercise his $36 million player option for next season and return to the Nets. So so they tried to do multiple packages to get Kyrie Irving out of Brooklyn, and all of them have pretty much just hit the water down quick. Let's go with Joe. Your thoughts on the Kyrie Irving situation and maybe your reason why Kyrie is having the same problem as Westbrook is, and that is that he just can't seem to find a sign and trade. They can't find a sign and trade package that's going to get him out of his team.
Well, it's pretty much simple, and given this is just my opinion, but I have been doing some research over the past several years in regards to teams looking to upgrade, teams looking to spend on top tier players in free agency. And in no way am I downgrading this event that happens every single year, but I have seen this happen year after year. The fact of the matter is the fact that these teams who say that they're interested in these top tier players, the reason they don't get a deal done is because of the NBA draft. And the reason I say that is because teams are wanting to do whatever they can, whatever it takes to win ball games night in and night out, week in and week out, and so on and so forth until the end of the NBA season. Teams are willing to do whatever it takes. And I'm not gonna lie, Kyrie Irving is a great player. I mean, yeah, he didn't get to play in a whole lot of games last year because, like I mentioned earlier, the fact that he's unvaccinated against COVID. I mean, but in the games that he was able to play, Kyrie actually played pretty well. I mean, I ain't gonna forget that one game in which he scored, what was it, almost 60 points in the game. I can't remember who it was that they played, but he scored almost 60 points or right at 60 points in that game. I am easily that's the best game that Kyrie Irving has ever had in the NBA. But the fact of the matter is that Kyrie Irving, along with these other NBA players that have been in the league for 3, 4, 5, 10, 15 years, almost 20 years, it's the fact of the matter is that these players are not getting any younger. These players are getting older every single day. And the fact that these teams that are one of these top tier players, whenever the draft comes around, they're sitting in their front offices going, huh, so do you think that we should spend all this money to get a player who has been around for 5, 10 years in the NBA, who can still put us some top tier talent if he wants to? Or should we look into the draft and find the next big man or the next Stephen Curry or the next Kawhi Leonard or the next Kevin Durant and James Harden and Russell Westbrook from the OKC days? And in the end, these teams' front offices are saying, you know what? We need to look into the draft and find the biggest prospect that we can and have him learn our playbook so that way it can elevate his play status to where he can be a superstar in so many years and years time. Like you said, Kevin, earlier, the fact that Milwaukee built up through the draft, the Warriors built up through the draft, all these other teams who are now some of the top teams in the NBA have built up through the draft because these teams are smart in the fact that they want to look in the draft rather than spending so much money on a guy who doesn't even deserve half of it. So that's just my opinion.
Absolutely. Real quick, you brought up that these players are getting any younger, and the older they get, the less money they're going to be able to garner because their play is going to go down and everything. You know what? Since Steven ain't here, I'm going to pull a Steven. I'm going to say, I'm going to take this to music. When a band who has been around for 20, 25 years, who had success back in, let's say, the 80s. Let's say there's an 80s band. Let's put Great White, for example. If you, especially for our younger viewers who know Great White is an 80s band. For Once Bitten, Twice Shy, Rock Me, Save Your Love. Anyways, that band, if that band is not, if the band isn't what they used to be, it's not going to garner a big money contract with a big record deal. They're not going to get that because they're an older band. They're not as popular as they used to be. They don't have, it's not like a LeBron who could still, even 10, 15 years in the NBA, could still garner a big money contract. If you were to compare, Great White would be like Russell Westbrook, Kyrie Irving, where LeBron would be like Metallica or Guns N' Roses. If you think about it in that retrospect, where LeBron could garner big money, he could garner big contracts, big sign and trade deals. He could do all that because of his play, because of the championships he's won, the success that he's had. Guns N' Roses, they could do big tours because of the success that they have and how much of a draw they are. And despite how much we trash LeBron on this show, jokingly and in some way seriously, we can't deny how big of a draw LeBron is no matter where he goes. So that's a thing too, is not only playability, but it's also how to draw the people there to the stadium. Because if you don't have a player like a LeBron, like a Steph Curry, like a whoever it may be, if you don't have a star player, some of those stadiums may only be 3/4 of the way filled. I mean, yes, you ride or die with the team that you have, and you doesn't matter who's on the team, but you got to think also that one or two people sells tickets. LeBron sells tickets in LA. Steph Curry sells tickets at the Chase, at the stadium. Jason Tatum sells tickets in Boston along with Al Horford. You look at those big money players. It's the exact same thing, like I said, in music. If you are an older player who is a little bit down from what his best years are, if his best years are behind, and you're not performing at the same level you're not going to get that guaranteed contract. You're not going to get that big sign and trade deal. And unfortunately, as much as I respect Kyrie Irving, and I think he is one of the best players of this generation of players, and he truly is. He has his moments. But to me, if you're not garnering, and you got to think with the whole thing around him with the COVID situation, that's a whole different ballgame. I don't want to get into detail about that, but you got to understand too, with him not playing as many games as he has because of the fact last year so many stadiums were still under restrictions as far as COVID goes, he was not able to play as much. To me, I think if Kyrie gets to play if Kyrie gets to get good playing time and this offseason, I think he can make a huge difference in Brooklyn. To me, because I think his level of productivity went down because his inability to get the vaccination. Yes, that's his own choice. But now that stadiums in cities are leveling off restrictions, the only ones I think that are still up are New York and California, who are the only two who are still having certain restrictions on COVID in stadiums and big venues and things like that. I think personally that this could be a season that we could see Kyrie Irving show up and show off. And it's a distinct possibility. I mean, as far as his value goes, I think he with the amount of years he's already put in and the production he has, I think he's right at the mark that he should be. He's not going to garner, what fucking Westbrook has right now, $50 million of fucking player option, which is to me ridiculous, but I digress. I think there is a distinct, it sucks that, he wasn't able to get to another team, but we'll see what happens because we don't even know where fucking Kevin Durant's going anyways.
Well, I think as far as Kyrie goes, I think that he really hurt himself this past year is with his attitude. You could see it in that Boston series, and he didn't really show up for any of those games. He's a selfish dude. He only plays when he wants to, and he doesn't do himself any favors. But the talent is there. I mean, man, he's a great player when he wants to actually exert himself and play. But when he's not, man, he's toxic. And if he would have went to the Lakers, I don't know what would have happened. I mean, it would have just been bad news. And you never know, that still could happen. Who knows how the NBA works and how deals can go and everything. But I think a lot of those teams like Indiana and a couple other smaller teams that were trying to get him really were like, wait a minute, we don't, I even heard, I think Kevin was even saying something maybe about him going to the Mavericks. I mean, man, that would be so toxic for the culture they're building there in Dallas, and I don't think that would ever happen. But man, it's one thing to know you're good and you know that your value, your value is, you're still valued. I mean, but it's another thing to flaunt it like he does, and it's just like I say, it just doesn't do himself any. He just doesn't do himself any favors, and it's a bad look. It's a very bad look for him.
And Randy, you do make a great point when you bring up toxicity. When you have a player who is either full of himself, arrogant, cocky, only plays this amount of games because, that's what I want to play or whatever, or blah, blah, blah. Like, for instance, like we talked about last year, Ben Simmons. The whole Ben Simmons situation with him not wanting to work out, not wanting to get better. And then, I saw that eye roll and turn for Kevin. I know when he brings up that name, things are gonna go down. But when I bring that up, I'm saying when you do things like that, you're creating a toxic environment for your players, your fellow players. You're bringing a toxic environment to yourself. Because if you're not going to improve, or if you're too cocky, arrogant, and you have an arrogant attitude about yourself, and you come into that team and try to think you're gonna take over the team, that's where things start to get dicey. A guy like Luka Doncic, he doesn't need a guy like that around him. Luka needs players that are going to support him, since he supports them, and he's gonna need players, coaches, and teammates that are going to support him and elevate him to the superstar that not only that he already is, but he can even be further. And to me, that's why I'm glad he didn't go to Dallas, because to me, if he truly is having these issues with his attitude and his conduct and his character, I think personally it's better off that he stays where he is, because he does not need to take another team that has a young future and create a toxic environment where those young players could leave and go to another team and make them successful. So I don't want to see that happen. And I mean, this is all, I don't know the inside of what's going on. I don't know. Of course, I'm speculating. Randy, you have more of an idea than I do on Irving's attitude, according to reports. But if that's the case, then he needs to stay where he is and not hinder another young team's chance of being a champion. Sure. Yes, he's a great player. He can be a great asset, but he needs to put his ego in check before he goes to a different team. Because if he does, it's gonna screw everything up.
That's right, and he'll get butthurt quick too. So it's just best if he stays where he's at, and because misery loves company, he can stay there with KD. Who is pretty much the same dude that Kyrie is in that respect. They can just all stay there and all be miserable together and lose in the first round or not even make it. So they can all stay together. That'd be great.
I'm going to rant on this subject for just a second.
Okay.
I do not feel bad for the Brooklyn Nets. I do not feel bad for Kevin Durant. I do not feel bad for none of these guys up there in Brooklyn. For the simple fact, you knew what you were getting into when you got Kyrie. You knew the past that he had. This dates back to 2017, 2018. And I think it's after he performed in the 16 finals and they won that championship, he got big-headed. His attitude changed. His demeanor changed. The way he carries himself changed. It was like that big jerk that walks around and thinks he's so much bigger than what he is. He goes to Boston. That is a cultural, historic team in Boston, and he basically shitted on that young talent. He came in there, and I remember the reports like it was yesterday. It came from Adrian Wojnarowski, and he said he listed everything in full detail. He called LeBron up while he was still in Boston and said, man, I remember I was young and you used to try to take me under your wing and tell me how hard-headed I was. Oh, I feel like this with these guys. These guys are jokes. They're clowns. Jason Tatum and Jalen Brown, they're sorry. They don't deserve me being here with it. What? That is so toxic. Hindsight 2020 as also that you got the Boston Celtics, who recently just came off the NBA Finals with those same two players that you called young and stupid and wanted to get out of Boston and clowned up in Boston. Okay, fine. You get out of Boston. You clowned in Cleveland, talking shit about LeBron. Then you go to Boston, clown Boston, and make an ass of yourself. Now you go to Brooklyn, and okay, I'll give them the pass slip. Everyone has their own beliefs when it comes to the COVID vaccine. Not knocking you get it, you don't. I'm not knocking it. It's just the fact that it ain't just the COVID vaccine. It's always something. It's always something. Not even talking about his religious belief, none of that going on, freedom of everything. He do what he wants. It's just the fact that it's always something. Why he can't play this, he can't do that. Oh, I'm resting. I'm on load management. I'm not going to play. If you don't, it's so aggravating because Kevin Durant, and I don't feel bad for Kevin Durant. You left Steph Curry. Your stupid ass is the one that left the most selfless superstar in NBA history. You left the culture like Golden State. You left a dynasty to go join someone who has been so toxic. He's just a toxic ex-girlfriend that you want to get out of your life. You joined that, Kevin Durant.
Right.
You joined it. You wanted them. You said, forget Steph Curry. Draymond hurt my feelings. I'm going to go get with a toxic teammate. Then you look, fast forward to 2022, you get swept in the playoffs. Kyrie's acting like a damn ass clown in Boston, flipping off the fans and acting like a jerk off instead of trying to play the game the right way. And you're over there like, oh, I'm by myself. Well, nah, shit. You knew what you were getting into. You knew Kyrie wasn't dedicated. You knew he wasn't loyal to you. He's not loyal to you. He's not loyal to a team. He's not loyal to ownership. And he's already had butt-ins with Steve Nash. They said that's why they can't stand each other. Steve Nash is your head coach. You listen to your head coach. He's your leader. He's trying to tell you something. You're going behind his back after practice, holding your own practice with your player saying, don't listen to what Steve Nash says. I know better. Well, if you don't sit your ass down somewhere and be humble, because if I don't recall, NBA Finals, Draymond Green was put on the bench by Steve Kerr. Did Draymond start throwing hissy fits and showing his ass? No. You know why? Steve Kerr was a leader. He listened to his head coach. That's why they're a dynasty. That's why they win. That's why the culture there is a winning culture, and all other players. And I tell you what, this is why it came to find out that the Lakers were the only teams with semi-interest in Kyrie Irving. Like Joey and Randy and we all said, teams are building through the draft because it's less toxicity. You got a bunch of kids who just want to grow. They're humble. They're not bigger than what they really are. They don't have that big head like Kyrie Irving or Russell Westbrook. They have the sense that, oh, I want to come in. I want to listen to my head coach like it's college basketball. I want to learn the game. I want to get good, and I want to play good. Every NBA player that's been drafted is that same way. And it's crazy because then you look at the last two NBA champions. Matter of fact, the last champions all the way since the Miami Heat. No super team was really bought, except the Lakers bubble ring, but that don't even count as a fucking championship. No team was bought. Everything was built. San Antonio built. Golden State built. Toronto Raptors, other than the Kawhi trade, built. The Milwaukee Bucks built. Runners up even. Phoenix Suns built. Boston Celtics built. And Kyrie Irving, nobody wants you, man. If you're going to take less money, okay, maybe somebody wants you, but I don't have a problem. He deserves some money. Matter of fact, he's the one that should deserve the $40 million. The only problem I have is, like Stephen A. Smith says, you're the best ability as a basketball player or any sports player, the best ability is availability. And he's not available at least 50, 60 games a year. And it ain't just about the COVID vaccine. I read a stat that he's not played over 40 games in the last 4 years.
Yeah, he's always hurt.
So what's the excuse? Oh, did he break his leg? No, he just missed games because of personal reasons. Okay, I'm not knocking him, but it don't matter. You get your shit straight. You think if I go to work every day and say, I don't feel like working, I'm going to go home and miss half the year, 190, 200 days, you think I'm still going to have a job? So that's Brooklyn's problem. They don't care about paying him the money. They just don't want to commit to the guy long term because of his history. If he would accept a 1 year with a team option after 1 year, Brooklyn would be fine with it. They say, you know what? Let's sign you 2 years, $90 million, and after the first year, you get a team option. So if you piss us off, we just cut you. We just decline it. I mean, he could go with the flow. Instead, he wants his 5-year Steph Curry numbers. He wants 5 years, $290 million, and you're not going to get that, bro. I mean, you're not going to get it. Your history, your toxicity, your butt-ins with 3 different organizations, you're not getting that money. And Kevin Durant, he tried his best to hold Brooklyn to like a hostage. He said, you know what? Well, I don't have to come back, and Kevin Durant won't come back either. Oh, well. Honestly, I loved Kevin Durant, but this league is bigger than Kevin Durant now. You got guys like Giannis, Kawhi, Steph Curry, even LeBron still. You got other superstars. Kevin Durant's not the best player in the world. If you got to go without Kevin Durant, trade him for an overhaul. That's all I got to say.
Yep.
You know, another thing real quick, I read that the Nets were trying to get Westbrook and for Kyrie, and they weren't even interested. I mean, and to bring it all back in together, you know, with Westbrook and Kyrie. I mean, what's that say when you don't even want Westbrook? You'd rather have Kyrie Irving. You know, it
is sad, man, but I honestly, in my honest opinion,
both those guys should play together. They deserve each other.
Oh yeah,
that's the last of it. Go ahead, Kevin.
But in my honest opinion, I feel like Russell Westbrook would have been better in Brooklyn because all the guys that are on Brooklyn are not ball dominant. He can do his thing with the ball now. I feel like that would have been Westbrook's best destination if him and Durant can make up like that damn toxic ex-married couple. I feel like that would be a good destination. Kevin Durant plays off ball. Ben Simmons plays semi-defense. Steph Curry don't have to have the ball. Westbrook would have probably looked like maybe a version 2, V2 version of the OKC Westbrook, in my honest opinion, just because he could be the one calling the shots. I feel like that hurt Westbrook by him not going to Brooklyn.
Yeah.
Joey, your thoughts?
Yeah. There's not really much I can say. I mean, Kevin has pretty much hit all the nails on the coffin, and I mean, there's just not much I can say.
All right. Well, let's move on to another guy who picked up a player option, and that is John Wall. Let's talk about the John Wall situation here. Looking it up right now, real quick, because one page I had decided to disappear on me. Gotta love fucking technology. I hate technology so much. Here it is, right here. The Houston Rockets have reached a buyout agreement with John Wall for the final season of his contract. So, in accordance with that, though, John Wall plans to sign with the Clippers. Yeah. So once he clears waivers, it says that he will sign with the Clippers. What are your guys' thoughts on the former Wizard and former Rocket now heading to good old LA?
Well, go ahead, Kevin, if you want to go.
Oh, I'm saying John Wall has always had a weird, kind of like a fetish of playing with Paul George. I don't know why. He's been trying to get Paul George in Washington for like the last 10 years. And now he sees the opportunity. I don't think he's going to be a big factor because he can't shoot the damn basketball. But I feel like he don't even start. I think Reggie Jackson's still going to keep that starting job. But I think he gives the Clippers a good depth coming off the bench. Like they're able to do some things. John Wall can run the point. I've always felt even without John Wall, the Clippers are going to probably contend with Golden State. That's going to be the top 2 teams in the West next year. Even with or without John Wall. I feel like healthy Kawhi back and John Wall, he's just, like I said on the show last week, committed the biggest legal robbery in NBA. Take that $47 million and run with it because he didn't play a single damn game with the Rockets last year and he's getting $47 million to do what I'm doing, sitting at home. How is that fair? Yeah. I could go sign me to the Rockets. Let me take that money and go back home where I'm at if you're going to do that. But, yeah, John Wall is just – he was good. I feel like he held Bradley Beal down, honestly. And I feel like he's going to hold Paul George down as bad. That's why I would not put him in the starting lineup. I'd let him play with the second unit, and I'd just leave him at that, playing 15, 20 minutes a game. I wouldn't let him play with Paul George because he holds guys down. He's a good defender. He's a good point guard. He just can't shoot. When you can't shoot, other guys get double teamed and leave you wide the fuck open, and you miss everything. Russell Westbrook.
Yeah.
Shots off the top of the backboard. I don't think John Wall's that bad, though. I think he'll at least hit the rim.
Oh,
I think he'll at least hit the rim, but that's legal robbery. I wish I could. Let me go hang out with John Wall for a week. I only get $47 million and run.
It's like that Steve Miller Band song. Go on, take the money and run.
That's it. Yeah. Wow.
Oh man.
Yeah, I think John Wall's a good pickup for them, but I mean, it's another one of those things where what have you done lately? I mean, I don't think he's played it's been a year and a half, a whole season and a half that he's played.
No, I think it says he tore his meniscus. I think that's the last time we've seen him.
Yeah. So it'll be interesting what John Wall you get. You know, you could get a like you said, a version of a Westbrook version, or the John Wall in the past. I mean,
The
he's
one that took
he's a great
Washington
player.
to Boston in the Eastern Conference Finals almost.
Woo.
That would be the John Wall you want.
He could get down the court fast, man. From end to end. I mean, there's nobody better, really. A great scorer, and I think he was coming into his own. That was it. Yeah. That's it.
Yeah, I believe it was that series. What was it? 2016, 17, when Isaiah Thomas had that miraculous run with the Celtics and they played the Wizards in that 7-game series. That was a hell of a series. That's the John Wall that we want. That John Wall was taking over. Him and Bradley Beal were balling, and Isaiah Thomas, that was a hell of a series, by the way.
Yeah, he was really coming into his own, and then he got hurt, and that was it. He hasn't been the same. Well, he hasn't played since, but that could have been the first time for him.
I agree. I mean, I think John Wall could be a decent pickup if he goes back to those days that he had in Washington, because, I mean, John Wall was definitely not a Stephen Curry or a Klay Thompson or a Giannis when it comes to shooting the ball, but John Wall, he can actually make some decent plays if he wants to. And the fact that he's thinking about joining a franchise that already has a lot on the table says a lot about the fact that John Wall, he wants to be a success. He wants to be a part of a team, not necessarily lead the team, but be a part of a team that actually has a good looking background. And that's what he sees with the Clippers. So, yeah, it could be a decent pickup. Now, do I think John Wall needs to up his stats a little bit like he did in Washington? Sure, of course, because right before the John Wall days, Washington had had an elite player join their roster since Gilbert Arenas back in the 04, 05, 06 days when he was the leader of that Wizards franchise. So, yeah, I mean, like you said, Randy, the question is, which John Wall is the Clippers going to get? Is this going to be the one who has battled an injury bug or has struggled consistently ever since coming back from his injury? Or are they going to be getting the leadership or the playmaking ability that he had in Washington? So, either way.
And I will say this much: as a guy whose team has faced Washington a lot over the years and faced John Wall many a times, I'll say this much: despite John Wall not being the quote unquote best pure shooter, I think to me he was a great playmaker. The guy could get in the lane. The guy could open up areas on the floor for other teams to get their shots set. He was pretty good. But the question is, you do pose a valid point, Joe, and that is and Randy too. That is that what version of John Wall are we going to get? Are we going to get the Washington Wizards John Wall that was great, that was a great playmaker and could open up the floor for his team? Or are we going to get this injury-ridden, just shell of his former self? I'm hoping for the Clippers that we get the Washington Wizards version of John Wall, but you got to understand, the guy's been in the league for a while now. He's battled injuries. It's going to be, can he come back? The thing is, I've learned, and we learned, nobody comes back from injuries the same, especially devastating ones. Can John Wall come back and do it? He's a young stud. He can get it done. But the problem is, can he get back to that elite level? That remains to be seen.
And you know what, Ezra, you strike a good point when you say coming back from injury. Now, I don't want to be a Debbie Downer. I root for John Wall because he came straight out of Raleigh, North Carolina, and kind of a home state boy. So I've always pulled for him. But John Wall prided himself in the NBA when he came into the league off of what? Athleticism and his speed. There's something that does not age well because of injuries, and that is your athleticism, your speed, and your vert. And Ezra knows this as well as we all do. Derrick Rose prided himself on athleticism and power, and once he took that knee injury, it was over. John Wall, similar situation. He prides himself off of speed, getting down the floor, and being powerful. After that knee injury, he's not the same. I don't know if he'll be the same. There's a reason guys like Steph Curry and LeBron James and Kevin Durant, they can play till they're almost 40. Because there's one thing, like CJ McCollum said, I thought was interesting. There's one thing ages well in the NBA, and that's your jump shot. There's a reason Ray Allen won a championship in Miami and he was 38 years old. Jump shots. Your shot will never fail you no matter how old you get. Your athleticism, though, it does not age. You suffer one knee injury and you're shook. That's why I said if Westbrook, even in OKC, would have took one knee injury and catastrophic injury, his career's over. There's a reason why Klay Thompson came off an Achilles tear and a torn ACL and still looks like Klay Thompson of old. Jump shots. He was known for jump shooting. His shot hasn't failed him. So John Wall, I don't look for him to be the same. But the good thing about it is the Clippers don't need him to be John Wall of Washington carrying the load. They got Kawhi freaking Leonard. He's the fourth best player in the NBA right now. They got Paul George, who's a top 15 player in the NBA. Whether we get pandemic P or playoff P, that's beyond me. Who knows? But nonetheless, Paul George and Kawhi Leonard's going to carry that load. Then you got Reggie Jackson, Terrence Mann, guys like that who can score and carry the load. Then you got a good defense behind you. John Wall just has to come in and kind of find his groove on wow, the stars are getting their rest. So I think that's a good situation for John to be in.
Yeah, I think so. I personally think so too.
Yeah,
definitely.
I
definitely
think so. I definitely think so. I just want to bring this up real quick.
That's fine.
You were right, Kevin. Once the superstar gets a knee injury, it pretty much changes their whole career, changes their whole aspect of the game itself, and not just basketball, but in football too. I mean, I can give you guys 3 high-profile names that have let a knee injury pretty much ruin their career. Number 1, Robert Griffin III. He was an elite quarterback, taken number 2 overall almost 10 years ago by the Redskins, who of course are now called the Commanders. He suffered a knee injury during the season, and what happened after that? He fell off the face of the earth. I can give you 2 high-profile running backs who have started off. Whenever the career started off, they were high-profile prospects, but now that they've let knee injuries happen, it's derailed their career. And I know you guys can agree with me on these 2 names, Saquon Barkley and Christian McCaffrey.
Oh, yeah.
Absolutely. Oh, yeah. Especially McCaffrey. And we'll get into we'll get into a little bit of NFL talk, but I do agree with that. You know, Christian McCaffrey is a prime example of a guy who was a great guy, had athleticism all day, but then an injury came and it basically shut his athletic ability to the side, and he hasn't been the same since. Derrick Rose, like you said, prime example. Not only did he have the knee injury, but he also had the ankle injuries as well that kept plaguing him for his years in Chicago. And to me, all those injuries piled up, and Derrick Rose has not been the same explosive, player that we came to know in 2008 when he got drafted to Chicago.
Yeah. No. And I hate to say this, but honestly, at this point, I think Derrick Rose is just on teams because he's a household name, not because he's got any value as much no more. And it's sad because I remember, Ezra, watching them Bulls. Derrick Rose single-handedly, let's just be honest, they didn't have no scores on that Bulls team. Derrick Rose single-handedly took his team to battle against LeBron and D Wade, which was pretty impressive. That's why I'm preaching so much, as long as Zach Taylor and guys like that for the Memphis Grizzlies, they're preaching to Ja Morant. Ja, please get a jump shot. If you tear your knee, you're not going to be what you are now. That high-flying, athletic, crazy lunatic, you're not going to do that no more. Ja Morant needs to get his shit together because of guys like that, like Derrick Rose and John Wall. So, I mean, shooting goes a long way, fellas. Shooting goes a long way in the NBA.
Yeah, there's a phrase that Bubba Ray Dudley, Bully Ray, has said on Busted Open. That rings true to this conversation. KISS. Keep it simple, stupid. That's exactly. That's exactly same thing applies in pro wrestling. Keep it simple. It doesn't need to be a full speed ahead. And you got to be like, if you have more of a, like, if you don't have to drive to the basket every play. You don't have to, pull up this shot, pull up this and this and this, and then try to be this, run around the court 4 times before you get to a player to give him the ball. If you just get in there, get in enough space and get your shooters open, or even get yourself even a jump shot. If you get a good jump shot, a good 2-pointer, 10, 15, 17 feet away, you're good. You get yourself a good jump shot, you will be fine, in my opinion.
Yeah.
And I agree with you, Kevin. The jump shots go a long way. They help bring longevity to your career. You don't always have to be, like I said, like a circa 2008, 2009 Derrick Rose. You don't have to be, you don't have to be earlier, like a Russell Westbrook or something like that, who's constantly moving and driving. If you just keep it simple, you drive in there, you get open space, you pull up for a jump shot, there you go. If that becomes your bread and butter, your career is gonna last longer than just trying to be Speedy Gonzalez and trying to fucking tear through everything.
Yeah, I think there's one player that actually has taken. It's kind of weird to say what we have said to heart and made a whole career out of it, and that's Carmelo Anthony. He's done. That's all he's ever done. He'll be around till he's 45 because he can shoot.
Agree. Good point, Randy. Good point. That's the reason why he stands out.
That just popped into my head.
He's working on his craft. Hey, look, he's working on his craft in New York, just standing in the corner calling for the ball to shoot.
Yep, that's it. Man.
Give it a ball.
And team, he will always have value. Team will bring him in because they know, 15 points, just like that. That's 15-point guy a night. That could be the 15 points that takes him over the top. So, yeah, and it's weird. I'm not a big Carmelo Anthony fan, but he's there's no one that has done more for themselves than him in that respect of staying in the league. And there's no way I can't believe I'm actually saying this, but he's done something that other fool in the NFL has done that I don't like. But just like you said, keep it simple. Keep it simple.
Yeah, and that is a great point, Randy, because Carmelo Anthony is definitely a household name in the NBA. That's why these teams are going to bring him in for 1 year, $10 million, $12 million, $13 million contracts, because he's just that big of a household name.
Right.
Which, at least Carmelo Anthony is a household name because I know one former basketball player who's not a household name as a player or as an analyst, and his name is Kendrick Perkins.
Oh dear God.
Jesus.
No. But that's a good point. You know what else, Randy? One last thing is another player that comes to mind we don't like. I've always criticized him. But Chris Paul, he doesn't drive to the basket. You will never see him drive to the basket.
Yes.
He will pull up from that elbow every damn time he gets. He's going to play till he's 40.
Yeah.
Just because his game, he doesn't take a beating at all. He does not get in there and get body. He draws tic-tac foul, so you can't really touch him. So all he does is pull up. So he's going to play till he's 40.
Oh, yeah, 100%. Yes, sir.
Great names, guys, because I do agree. That's why Melo has been he's been valuable in an invaluable way. He's a guy he's a guy you're not going to see him pull up 25, 30 points a night. He'll go out there, pull 12, 13, 15 points a night. It'll be in the background, but that sometimes that's the plays and that's the player that helps the team win. It's not always the guy who's going to score 40 points a game, 15 rebounds, 10 assists. Sometimes less is more if you think about it. You don't. And that's no slight to any player who does that, like a Steph Curry, like a LeBron. But if you have a player like a Melo, you have a player like a Chris Paul who is valuable to your team in an invaluable way, where he can do that, where he can be in the background, score his 15 points, 17 points a game, and make it and just hide in the background and help his team out. that's a very valuable position. You don't always have to be the star.
That's right. Just be a good teammate. That's all.
Absolutely. And I definitely agree with that statement because one thing that these coaches, no matter what year or decade that they're from, one thing that coaches always tell their players is that one player does not make a team. Two players does not make a team. Because what does team stand for? It stands for together, everyone achieves more. And what's the key word in that? Together.
That's right.
Not one player or two players can make a team because basketball, football, baseball, hockey, no matter what team sport you play, it is a team effort, not a single person or two-person effort.
That's right.
Yeah, even competitive dodgeball.
Yeah, yeah, even competitive dodgeball.
Dodge, duck, dip, dive, and dodge. Yes, but you know what? You had a perfect transition a few minutes ago. But we'll get to some other basketball, or we'll get some other news based on this whole situation real quick. But I do want to get into some more other news, and that is that speaking of the Clippers, their center Ivica Zubac has agreed on a 3-year, $33 million deal to stay with the Clippers. The Clippers declined his $7.5 million player option, his team option, clearing the way for this brand new deal for him.
Now that's team friendly.
Yeah,
I respect it. And hey, you know the funny thing about it? He was a fucking Laker too.
He sure was.
They sent him out of they sent him
great with
next
the Lakers,
to the
man. They should have never got rid of him.
Damn
I
idiots.
His game is great. He's
At
quiet.
one time they had Brandon Ingram, Julius Randle, Zubac. Come on. What? Come on. I'm glad he found success with the Clippers, though. He deserves it.
Yeah, definitely. And then another big news story, and another big one is that or another really big one, but another big player option type deal that because we keep talking about this throughout the show. Chicago Bulls center Tony Bradley is exercising his $2 million player option for next season. That's according from Adrian Wojnarowski. Another big news is a coaching change, and that is Utah Jazz. The Jazz will be getting Boston Celtics assistant Will Hardy. He has a 5-year deal. The numbers aren't known right now, but it says that Hardy played Division III basketball at Williams College and started in the video room under Greg Popovich in San Antonio.
Hey, you know what? I can't talk bad about it because basically anybody who's played or coached under Greg Popovich has had pretty much fucking good success. The two coaches in the NBA Finals came under Greg Popovich, for crying out loud, and Udoka and Steve Kerr. So anybody under Pop, I will give the benefit of the doubt, and I will give them a chance to prove themselves. So let's see. Let's hope Donovan Mitchell doesn't request a trade before week 1 or the first game of the season, though.
Oh God. Let's see. Real quick before we move on, we have a. Right now, as I search through the news here, we got to talk about this. And I feel bad for you people who live in North Carolina. After all the drama with the head coaching situation, they found their man. And Steve Clifford. Steve Clifford, the former coach of the Charlotte Hornets, will be returning. He agreed on a new deal after 5 years, 2 playoff appearances. He will return. He will return to Queen State, good old Charlotte, North Carolina. Because of course it says right here, Clifford has always had a strong relationship with Hornets owner and a guy who doesn't sign nothing for less than $35, Michael Jordan, and fit the profile of what Jordan and general manager Mitch Kupchak wanted for this developing young roster. Joey, I want you to lead this off because I know you had some opinions on this on the pre-show. So the floor is yours, good sir.
I just got one thing to ask regarding this whole situation. Is there a trash can nearby? Because if so, that's
No. Here's the problem. All the trash cans are currently all at the stadium where the fucking what's their names play, Panthers.
Yeah.
Well, then they need to have some trash cans around the Hornets too, because that's where their season is going right now. That's where the season is going right now, because the fact that the Hornets are going to bring back a guy who, he won some games during his first run with the company that lasted from 2013 through 2018. Yeah, they did win some games. But the fact that the Hornets go back to this guy who I don't even think led them to a single playoff berth in the 5 years that he was a head coach. I may be wrong on that, but
he had 2 playoff appearances.
Okay, well, 2 playoff appearances. So, yeah, I mean, I don't know, man. And see, and the fact that Clifford has a losing track record as a head coach, he has more losses than he does wins. I mean,
it's unbelievable.
Michael Jordan, listen, bro, or listen, fam. I understand that you know a lot about the game of basketball because you're easily the best. You're easily the best NBA player in all the nation, with Kobe Bryant being a close second. But your reign as an owner is not going so well.
No, I'm just saying. Okay.
I mean, you're right.
What was that? The victory celebration for that head coaching position?
That was the Charlotte Circus. That was the Charlotte Circus in North Carolina.
To be honest, this is the only sound that is being heard right now.
Hey, you know what? That's well thought of because the Charlotte Hornets are a fucking circus act. Now, I don't know which one of you guys brought it up at the first of the show, but you brought up a good point. There is a reason that Golden State Warriors tickets, like Hijacker Mike said last week, are like $200 cheap. But the Hornets tickets are $80. There's a reason for that because nobody wants to pay to see this shit. Who wants to pay to see Steve Clifford lose half the fucking season? Who wants to pay to see Miles Bridges walk on instead of getting signed? Who wants to pay to see Michael Jordan cuss out a bunch of 13-year-olds? Nobody wants to pay to see this shit. I would pay for them to leave Charlotte.
Exactly.
I would pay them to leave Charlotte. Go on Cancun. I don't care.
Exactly.
Go to Cancun. Go play Mexico City. Mexico, here's your new franchise. Jordan, go on that way.
Exactly. And here's the thing. I mean, yeah, he is an extremely young talent. And notice I said the word talent because that's what he is. But eventually, LaMelo Ball's going to get sick of it and want out of Charlotte before too long.
Yeah, I think Steve Clifford is doing what John Wall did in Houston there, Kevin. He's taking everybody's money and not doing a damn thing about it. You know, he went from the Hornets to the Magic and just took their money, and now he's back. And he, like you said, he doesn't have a winning record. I don't understand what the allure is for him. He must have pictures of Jordan naked. Oh, I didn't mean to say that, but yeah, it must be something. He must have something because it's pretty bad news for them to bring him back. I mean, who better than to teach a bunch of young guys some basketball than a really old, out of touch dude? Oh wait, that's terrible. They needed to make a splash with that hire because they got LaMelo Ball who's gonna leave.
Okay. If this is a splash, If this is a splash, this is a splash in a kiddie pool compared to anything else.
That's true. Yeah.
Yeah, I said it last week, and I'll stand on it. LaMelo Ball's going to beat down The Rock when he was singing Sacramento, There I Go, and give it 2 years. He's going to be like, Charlotte, North Carolina, there I go. Got some dumb-ass coaches.
Get the hell out. You know it.
I want to play for someone new. He's going to be gone. He's going to get the hell out of Charlotte. And Jordan ain't going to convince him. And none of these damn goofs up there in Charlotte is going to convince him. I honestly believe he'll end up in Chicago with Lonzo. I feel like he's going to play with his brother. He's sick of this shit. He wants to go to a team that's up and coming and about to win. He's sick of this shit in Charlotte. Hell, I believe he can go to the Knicks and be better off than the fucking Hornets at this point.
Hey,
we'll take LaMelo. Just keep LiAngelo away.
There you go. Hey,
last thing we need is LeVar showing up at practice barking at everybody like a guard dog.
Right.
Lord. Lord.
Matter of fact, no. They should have hired LeVar Ball as their head coach. There you go. I'm glad you said let LeVar Ball be the damn head coach. He would bring more entertainment to the fucking arena. They might sell tickets just to watch him go act like a damn clown. I mean, this guy sat up on First Take the other year and said he could beat Michael Jordan in a game of one-on-one in Jordan's prime. You know what? That would sell tickets in Charlotte. That would bring Jordan money to hear him talk in Charlotte like that. I would go to the games just to hear what LeVar Ball had to say. I would pay that money to listen to the crap that comes out of his mouth. Jesus Christ. I could beat Jordan one-on-one. I would win 6-0. You know what? I would pay to listen to it.
Oh my God.
What a moron he is. My God.
Oh my God, dude. Here's the thing. You know we can't leave the NBA discussion without talking about the NBA draft.
Uh-huh.
The NBA draft is a couple of days ago. Some teams, of course, the lot of players got their draft picks signed. Let's talk about not just the picks, because that could be a whole nother show. Let's talk about the confusion. Let's talk about the Spider-Man.
Yes.
Let's talk about the two players with nearly the same fucking name.
Literally drafted by the same fucking team. The same name on the same team.
But also
number 0, Jalen Williams. Assist by number 2, Jalen Williams. What? That's gonna be so funny. And then you forgot Nikola Jokic's twin brother, evil twin, Nikola Vucic, all the way out of Serbia. Oh my God, drafted by the Miami Heat. It would be really funny if the Denver Nuggets drafted him. So then at starting center, Nikola Jokic. At the reserve center, Nikola Vucic. Oh my God! I wish the Nuggets would have drafted him.
And also we got to mention the biggest news though is the Lakers taking the son of two of the greatest players of all time.
That's right.
Sharif O'Neal and Scottie Pippen Jr.
Honestly, I feel like Sharif's going to end up being the best bench player the Lakers got.
They get to deal with Skip Bayless's all-time favorite player, Russell Westbrook.
Yeah, they should. What they should have done, they'd been better off signing Shaquille O'Neal and Scottie Pippen right now to go on those teams. That way, they don't ruin those poor kids' careers. So,
hey, you know what? It's okay though, because Shaq can teach his son Sharif how to shoot free throws like him, and Scottie Pippen Jr. can always play second wing to somebody. I don't know who.
Yeah, he can not doing the game.
Listen. You know what the irony about this whole thing is? Skip Bayless has made this comment for years and years now. He said, and I know what he means. He said Jordan had Scottie Pippen. LeBron never had a Scottie Pippen. I mean, technically now he's got a Scottie Pippen Jr. I mean, in that sense, I'm not sure if he's going to go be the second best player on the team. But if they keep shooting the way they are, he might be the second best player on that damn team. Hell, he might be the first if LeBron gets hurt. Jesus.
Let me tell you, if Sharif O'Neal becomes the star player and LeBron has to leave, there'll be more cheers there than fucking Claudio's debut at fucking Forbidden Door.
That's right.
Hey,
So
Yeah.
there you go.
God have mercy.
So there you go. But yeah, definitely some good picks. And of course, I'm trying to get through the timeline. It's kind of hard when fucking Wojnarowski's Twitter is nothing but fucking draft picks for like freaking 30 straight fucking things. Oh my god. As far as I can tell, that's pretty much. Here we go. Portland got Jeremy Grant from the Detroit Pistons for a pick in the draft. So for 2020, actually for 2025 first rounder.
Hey, way to go.
Let's see. And here's another big news is that Fanatics CEO Michael Rubin sold his 10% ownership stake in the Philadelphia 76ers and the New Jersey Devils.
Interesting.
Yep. Speaking of
Did
the
you
Lakers,
guys also hear, speaking of ownership, did you hear that Shaq was trying to buy a partial ownership of the Orlando Magic?
No. Wow.
Oh, I haven't heard that.
That'd be pretty wild.
That's pretty dope.
oh, that would
What, they
actually,
gonna have like a free vending machine full of icy hot around the building?
Hey,
you get free discounts on insurance with the General.
Yeah, I was gonna say, yeah.
there you go.
The general insurance night.
At least it ain't State Farm. You won't choke like Patrick Mahomes and Chris Paul
Yeah.
with his National General.
Hey, if you join as part of the Madden video game, you get a free year's supply of Tough Actin' Tenactin.
I'm down with that. That's
Hey,
awesome.
I've also heard that if you jump on the Warriors bandwagon, you get a free year Subway courtesy of Stephen Curry.
Or Bitcoin.
Or
There you go.
I meant to tell you this because I know it's news, and I don't know if you guys actually came across it, and it kind of goes back a little bit to our Kyrie Irving discussion. But do you know, because of his toxicity, Nike is dropping Kyrie Irving from any further shoe deal after this year?
Dang.
That tells you all you need to know now.
yeah.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, that tells you all you definitely need to know.
Nike said, "Fuck it, I'm gonna head out."
Yeah.
Uh,
That's pretty nuts.
yeah. Nike is like that meme.
There is some news we missed last week. This news came before the show. That was last week, and that was that Nicholas Batum, who was with the Clippers, he has declined his $3.3 million player option to become a free agent. But here's the thing. Here's the thing, though. The Clippers and Batum, there is some mutual interest that a new deal will be structured in July. So
I was about to say the Lakers could offer for him. The Lakers could offer him $2 and a damn hoagie. That's all they got.
oh my god.
Who do you say?
I know you just triggered my fat man senses.
Yeah.
Randy said hoagie. Or he could get 5 guys. Now that shit's about $3 million there. They're
the only ones that can afford it. They're the only ones that can afford it.
5 guys.
The NBA guys are the only guys that can afford 5 guys.
5 guys. 5 guys. The only place in the world where you can get a single hamburger with a piece of cheese for $9.
That place is great.
That sounds like somebody's DoorDash order.
Yeah, horrible.
Now I will say
the reason why it's $9. The
order
reason why it's
fries, they built him
$9 is the
back
$4.99 fee.
Right. Yeah.
Let's get into some. Let's go. Right here. Let's. Here's one. The Knicks, according to a report from ESPN, are strong favorites to sign Jalen Brunson in free agency.
Well,
I can see that ending good because if Jalen Brunson brings the same game plan ability that he showed in Dallas whenever Luka Doncic was out due to injury, it might be something good for New York.
Are you saying that Carmelo Anthony not coming back would be?
I don't know because Carmelo's just a household name.
That's it. Now, Jalen Brunson did exactly what the opposite of what every toxic player we said did. He lifted himself up. He's going to get paid. He's going to get paid to be mediocre in New York. I mean, that's how it works, man. You work your ass off and then you coast for the rest of your career, and that's all he's going to do in New York. New York and Dallas are two different animals, but he played at Villanova. He's used to the scrutiny and the crowds and all that.
Hey.
But still, he's still got to perform. So we'll see how it happens.
Hey, maybe Jalen Brunson's trying to go to New York so he can remind New York that he's not the next Kristaps Porzingis.
Oh, Jesus.
That name, really.
Rough.
You had to bring up that colossal failure?
Hey, I had to at some point.
That dude is made of glass more than fucking Anthony Davis.
Hey, you know what? I was just looking at my Twitter and I forgot. I thought something was interesting about this draft as well. I didn't know this till the second round, but the Cavaliers last year got Evan Mobley. This year they drafted Evan Mobley's little brother. So now you got the Mobley brothers on one team. That's pretty wicked, man. That's crazy.
Yeah, that's right. He should get the player too.
I also brought this up a little bit during the pre-show, but the fact that Boston went out and drafted a freshman point guard out of the University of Alabama who has no playmaking ability, who turns the ball over and has an afro on his head that is so big it needs its own zip code.
He can get.
Boston can straighten him out because he needs it.
He'll get hair tips from Marcus Smart.
Well, that's not really a good idea, Joey. Getting Boston to straighten him out, the team that turned the ball over 25 times in an elimination to straighten the turnover machine out, he might make it worse.
I totally forgot about that. I totally forgot about
turn the ball over 30 times in a game by himself.
Yeah, speaking based on what I saw last year, because J.D. Davison, I think there was like a span of 3 games where he turned the ball over like 50 times.
Terrible.
They got more. They had more turnovers than my job.
I can agree with that.
Oh!
Brady can vouch for that one.
You got more turnovers than a pie shop.
Cool.
Russell Westbrook's got more bricks than a brickyard.
Brick.
Yeah. He's laying more bricks than the Bears are for their next stadium.
Hey. Anthony Davis is going to make hospitals go out of business because he keeps breaking wheelchairs.
They're going to run out of damn wheelchairs for him.
Yeah, there you go.
couple more. Let's get out of the basketball talk and let's actually real quick. I forgot about this. Oh wait, no, we already talked about this one. Let's talk about real quick in the world of football. The trial for one Deshaun Watson will resume tomorrow. As we learned last week. Oh my, that meme you posted in our fucking chat. As we learned 20, I believe it was 20 or 21 out of the 24 lawsuits that Watson had against him were settled. But his NFL hearing, which is coming up, will continue Wednesday. So more drama to build until we find out the fate of one Deshaun Watson.
Man, at this point, they need to just bring Vince McMahon in here to tell him he's fired. Just get it over with. You're not playing no more.
No, I don't know.
Whoa. It would have to be
Hey,
no. It would have to be Stephanie McMahon since Vince has kind of got his own problem going on right now.
Yeah. Vince and Watson just hang out. They might do something, go hang out somewhere. You might want to put them together.
Let's get into some other football. Let's get some other quick football news. There's a brand new Thursday Night Football broadcast partner, two actually. One being formerly of Fox Sports, Carissa Thompson. She will be a part of it. And also Aqib Talib.
He better hope Michael Crabtree don't see him. They'll be fighting.
They're taking his necklace.
I remember that too. I remember
that necklace. They're fighting over a damn necklace. Randy remembers it. Michael Crabtree was a Raider at that point.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
As Ludacris would said, we ain't got nothing to worry about. Whoop ass. Let's security clear him out.
That's right.
Yeah, he will be doing the Thursday Night Football games on Amazon Prime Video.
Wow.
He will be a studio analyst. He will be involved in pregame, halftime, and post-game shows.
All power to him.
And then also, Washington wide receiver Terry McLaurin has agreed to a 3-year, $70 million deal. With
finally,
$34.6 million of that guaranteed upon signing, and a $28 million signing bonus.
Finally, the Commanders are rising out of the ashes and doing something good for a change. Locking out Terry McLaurin for another 3 years. Now let's keep the good news going and get that sorry butt Daniel Snyder out of office.
Yeah, then Cam Newton can throw to him.
Yeah.
Sorry, Joey.
Hey,
I had to get you off your hide, Joey. Sorry.
Come on. Hey, listen now. I cut you some slack. Once we all found out that Colin Kaepernick's workout with the Raiders went absolutely horrible.
That's what I heard. I thought it went well.
So the least you can do is cut me some slack.
Yeah, my fault, man. They were just trying to help him out. You know.
Other news report real quick is as we reported last week or the week before was that Kim Bagula, the co-owner of the Buffalo Bills, was going through some health problems and had to have surgery. It says that it says right here that she is resting and progressing very well from her health issues. So we continue to send our positive eyes to Kim Bagula and all the best to her in her recovery. And hopefully she'll be back to doing her front office stuff with the Buffalo Bills as soon as possible. All the best to her. In MLB, we got to talk about one or two things, and that is, of course, the injury to Bryce Harper, which is a huge blow to the Phillies right now. Bryce Harper, unfortunately, will have surgery on his, I believe it is his thumb, on a pitch that was pitched to him and it unfortunately caught his thumb. It was completely unintentional. It did not mean to happen. So he it says that Bryce Harper will have surgery on Wednesday, tomorrow. But the good news is the surgery will not keep him out for the rest of the season. That he will be able to play again.
Oh, good.
So before the season is out, Bryce will be back. Today, Max Scherzer has officially made his rehab start. Because today and according to this, it says right here, Mets ace Max Scherzer will make a minor league rehab start for Double-A Birmingham. Scherzer will be pitching on 7 days of rest after his first rehab start. And according to this, Shohei Ohtani will be pitching again, this time against the White Sox. So Shohei Ohtani going back to pitching as well as hitting, trying to pull the double duty like he's been doing. He's one of the best, that's for sure, to do it. And that's pretty much it on MLB news. I really don't have any. Oh yeah, we can't go without saying this. Congratulations to the Colorado Avalanche on winning the Stanley Cup title. Congratulations.
Yes.
That's awesome.
Dethroning the two-time winners Tampa Bay, winning in Game 6. Congratulations to Colorado on taking
their first Stanley Cup title since 2001. Congratulations, Avalanche. Very well deserved.
Absolutely a hard-fought series in that one. Took control early. Tampa Bay was looking to come back, but in the end, it was the determination of Colorado. And congratulations to all the players. Congratulations to the players who won all their awards during the NHL awards this past week, which we named off during last week's show. And congratulations to like I said, to the players, to the teams, to the coaches. They did a hell of a job, and now they get their name inscribed on that beautiful, beautiful Stanley Cup.
Good.
So congratulations to them. Anything else you guys want to run by before we close out the show for today?
Oh, I'm good,
I
man.
think I'm
Don't do
good.
drugs, guys. You end up like the Los Angeles Lakers and signing Russell Westbrook to $47 million. Stay off the drugs.
Off the drugs, yeah.
They know.
Cocaine's a hell of a drug.
Say, well, no. Cocaine is a hell of a drug. Just ask Tony Khan. Yeah, because Tony Khan was about 2 fucking kilos before he came out to the ring sometimes. But that's a whole different story. Also, we got to say, if you notice, we did have a 4-man crew tonight, not our usual 5-man. And that is because Steven is out right now. At the big stadium tour that is going on, thing known as the stadium tour, with Motley Crue, Def Leppard, Poison, and Joan Jett and the Blackhearts, with Classless Act opening for the very huge tour. He's at tonight. Hopefully he has a great time and he rocks out and rocks on, and we'll see him next week on the show. Final thoughts, guys, before we close out the show for today. Let's go with Randy.
Hey, great show tonight, guys. Talking about all that free agency stuff and the futures, and we'll keep getting into it next week, especially because it'll start this Thursday. I think you were saying, so it'll be interesting to see what's going to happen, and it's just going to be balls to the wall, I think, and by then we'll probably know more about the Deshaun Watson thing. So looking forward to that, and I hope everybody has a good week. And as always, thanks for having me. You guys have a great week too.
Absolutely, Randy. Thank you for your input, man. Joe, you're next, bud.
Another great show with you guys. Love talking to sports, and I loved being back after a little meltdown that I had last week. It was glad to be back. Glad to talk sports with you guys, and I want to be the first to say happy July 4th to everybody watching out there. We got July 4th coming up next week. July 4th weekend's coming up this weekend. So whatever y'all decide to do, y'all go out and have yourself an absolute blast of a time.
Absolutely, man. Happy 4th of July to everybody. Of course, July 3rd is a big day for me because it is my birthday. So
Guys, happy early birthday, bro.
Happy early 50th. That's
Happy
all.
birthday.
Trust me. My hairline says I'm 50, but I'm actually 31.
Still better than LeBron James.
Yeah, at least yeah.
LeBron's got millions.
Yeah, I know. Everybody keeps mistaking me for fucking Earthquake or Tugboat. I'm getting tired of that. Anyways, thank you guys for that.
Happy birthday, early birthday, man.
Yep. Big 3-1 this year, of course. I'm happy about that. But I'm excited for the 4th of July. I actually have it off this year, so I'm excited for that.
Nice.
But Kevin, your final thoughts, my brother.
Man, it was a great show with you guys. Another good Taco Tuesday out here, and just love talking about the free agency and all the sports we talk about. And here in a couple weeks, probably about a month, maybe a month and a half, we'll start ramping things up for the NFL as training camp will be underway. Get started, and we'll have a ton to talk about then. But it's good to talk about sports with you guys, and I hope everybody out there has a mainly safe and happy 4th of July. Whatever you do, be responsible. I don't care. Do cocaine off a stripper's ass. I don't care. Just be responsible. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, just hopefully you don't have to get 40% off gloves like Jason Pierre-Paul. 20% for each finger.
Wow.
Oh gosh, we gonna bring up that little mishap again.
Hey,
oh my Lord.
Why not? He's got Godzilla hands.
You know what? Hey, listen. I see it all over Randy's face now. You brought up a good damn point right now. He's hoping Tom Brady gets his right thumb took off in the damn 4th of July incident.
Yeah.
So he can't throw a football. I see it all over Randy's face right now.
Yeah, let's hope he grabs himself a couple bottle rockets and they don't rock it. Let's hope they don't rock it.
Oh, boy.
Hopefully, he's hoping he accidentally ties himself to a big bottle rocket like fucking Looney Tunes. It goes up in the air and explodes.
Oh yeah.
Hey, or if he falls off a cliff and gets a giant rock thrown on him like Wile E. Coyote.
Yeah, I hope he tries to go through a tunnel that's not really a tunnel.
Damn. All right, good, awesome, guys. Thank you very much, guys. I appreciate it, man. It was a great show. Like I said, Stephen Wyan, enjoy the concert, man.
Yeah, have fun, Steve.
Have fun, brother.
Oh, yeah.
Definitely. I'm gonna close this show out now. Thank you guys so much for all of your input. Thank you to everybody watching. Of course, you can follow us once again, twitter.com/ON_sports show, facebook.com/OurNation Sports Show, and Instagram.com/OurNation Sports Show. Don't forget to check out the Nation's Corner this Saturday, 7 p.m. Eastern, 4 p.m. Pacific, 6 p.m. Central Time, as we talk about all things pro wrestling. Don't forget to check out last week's episode where me and my buddy Too Sweet Neil talked to Japanese wrestling expert Karen Peterson at Hey Karen, I believe it is Hey Karen Sensei on social media, where we talked about Forbidden Door and what a pay-per-view that was, and definitely they'll be talking about that along with all the other things happening in pro wrestling this Saturday on the Nation's Corner. Also, don't forget to follow our individual social medias, which is posted in this channel and in this video description. So go down there and check it out. So for Randy Giron, for Kevin Rory, and for our other buddy Joseph Thornton, I'm Ezra Vickrey, and of course we will see you right here next week with another great edition of the one, the only, Our Nation Sports Show. Take care, everybody. You all have a great week, and we will see you next time. Take care, brush your hair, throw some napkins in the air.